Shrimatre Namaha. Soundaryalahari as a name itself suggests Soundaryam. Soundaryam is beauty. And Lahari is like a flow that is there. You see water flows also. So Soundaryalahari, the name itself, it suggests is basically a wave or a flow of beauty that comes in. Now the original composer, now why this Soundaryalahari is considered very very auspicious also, it is because the original composer of this text is said to be Paramashiva himself. Lord Shiva himself has composed these 100 shlokas in praise of goddess Parashakti. Now all these 100 shlokas, they talk about the goddess Devi, Parvati, Tripura Sundari, Lalita Devi. These are all just various forms of Parvati Devi. So all these 100 shlokas are talking about the goddess only, the beauty of the goddess, the form of the goddess, and so on. Right? Now, though we say that goddess Paramashiva is the original composer of Soundaryalahari, there is a story behind it. Now, Soundaryalahari is, like I told you, it means waves of beauty. Now, the current form that we have of 100 shlokas, it is said to have been composed by Adi Shankaracharya roughly around the 8th century or so. Now, how? Now, I told you originally it was composed by Lord Shiva. How come then Adi Shankaracharya got the title that he has composed this text? Now, initially it so happened that Adi Shankaracharya once, while he was on his Digvijay Yatra also around Bharatadesha, he visited Mount Kailasam also. Now, while he visited Kailasam in order to worship Shiva and Parvati Devi, at that time what happens is Shiva, he gives him this manuscript which has these 100 shlokas that are there. That is nothing but the Soundaryalahari text. And it had got the various aspects of the goddess, the beauty of the goddess, and so on. Now, Shankaracharya very happily he accepts that from Paramashiva, and while he was returning back from Kailasam, Nandi Bhagavan was there, the Vahanam of Shiva, and playfully, not with an intention of causing any harm also, playfully Nandi Bhagavan, he snatches that manuscript from the hands of Adi Shankaracharya, and while he was snatching that, he also tore that manuscript into 2 pieces. Now Shankaracharya felt very bad, he didn't know what to do, because this is something which had been given by Lord Shiva himself, and this Nandi Bhagavan has torn it away. That's when, now this Nandi also very smartly what he does is, those 2 pieces he had torn of that manuscript, one part he keeps to himself, and another part, the remaining part, he gives back to Shankaracharya. Shankara, he did not know what to do. He goes back to Shiva and tells him that all this has happened, now I don't know what to do. That's when Paramashiva tells him that, now in that manuscript what happens is, the one which Shankaracharya had got with him, other was already taken away by Nandi Bhagavan, right? So the one manuscript that he had, that had about 41 shlokas it seems. So Paramashiva tells him that you just keep these 41 shlokas as it is with you, and the remaining 59 shlokas that are there, you try to compose by yourself. Thus Shankaracharya, he completes the work and he composes the remaining 59 shlokas, which together we call as Soundaryalahari. So the initial 41 shlokas is nothing but Ananda Lahari, and the remaining 59 shlokas were composed by Adi Shankaracharya. They were added to this set of 41 shlokas only, and together these 100 shlokas, roughly some references have about 100 and 203 or so, Adhika Patam, that is there. So together this text is called Soundaryalahari. So that is how the composition of this text takes place. Now this is the most popular legend or the story of Soundaryalahari. Apart from this also there can be few other folklores that are told. Now though Soundaryalahari talks about the beauty of the goddess, it has got lot of principles or philosophy of Advaita Vedantam. Now what is Advaita Vedantam? Now Adi Shankaracharya, we know he is known for propounding Advaita. We have 3 major acharyas in Bharatadesha: Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, right? Adi Shankaracharya is known for propounding Advaitam. Now what is Advaitam? I'll tell you in very simple language. Dvaita has two. Advaita, the opposite of Dvaita, meaning there is only one thing. Everything around is nothing but Maya. That is, there is only one supreme that is there. Remaining anything and everything that you see around you, including yourself, that is nothing but Maya. Just an illusion that is there. For some time it just comes and goes away. Like we also, you see, we all take birth, we have to die one day, right? Nobody is permanent here. So it is just but illusion that comes in. Shankaracharya believed and propounded this philosophy. Ramanujacharya Vishishta Advaita, meaning he says always we cannot say that it is only Advaita or Dvaita. That is, at times it will be Advaita, that is there is only one supreme and everyone around is Maya, everyone and everything. But at times it will be even Dvaita. Like for example, we have the concept of Jivatma, Paramatma. Paramatma is none but the supreme. But inside us also we say, right, there is a soul inside, there is a Jiva inside. There also Bhagavan only resides, right? So there is one Paramatma, the supreme. Inside each one of us also there is Jiva. That's why it is said that we have to look at each one with divinity. God resides inside every one of us and so on. So there is some life, there is some Jiva that is there. So both, like for example, Radha Krishna. Krishna is Paramatma, Radha is Jivatma. Like this comparisons are made. So Ramanujacharya had this philosophy that we cannot always say that it's only Advaitam or only Dvaitam. It depends. Whereas Madhvacharya followed the Dvaita philosophy only, saying that there is one Paramatma, there is also one Jivatma always. Right? So these are just different philosophies. Now people like you and me, we need not decide which philosophy to follow, which is correct, which is wrong. These are all just different philosophies. They all lead to the same path only. For people like you and me, we must at our stages, we must at least know what these philosophies are. Okay, so we are no one to decide whether I should follow this, I should follow that and so on. Right? So Shankaracharya was a propounder of Advaita Vedantam, and in this text of Soundaryalahari also he tries to describe that only in detail. Now these shlokas that are there, they are considered to be very very powerful shlokas, and the grace of the goddess, it seems that it flows through each of these shlokas. So it is a shloka full of devotion, philosophy, beauty of the goddess, and mainly it talks about the feminine aspect. So divinity that is it, like I'll tell you one thing, Shakti that comes in, the Shakti aspect of, now there are three parts. So we have Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Shaktism and so on. Now I don't know how many of you are followers of Shaktism, or let me not say followers, who are more used to Shaktism, right? Now in Shaktism what is mainly practiced is, we have lot of now maybe Devi worship also. If you would have seen, you go to any Devi temple, you see you have lot of things that are done using mudras also, right? Shlokas are chanted orally, but lot of hand movements are being done. Or you see, while we have even the Bhagavati Seva Puja, especially in South India also, or any Devi Puja, you see lot of those yantras, that is lot of those geometrical figures, shapes also they will be drawn, right? And that's how the goddess is worshipped. So this is nothing but, this is how mainly goddess Shakti is worshipped popularly in Bharatadesha. So Soundaryalahari also tries to propound this Shaktism mainly. It describes the power of Shakti that is there. Now today when we talk so much about feminism, women's rights, this and that, Soundaryalahari forms the base of one of those texts which propounds that Shakti that is there. That's why shloka number 1 only of Soundaryalahari, Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum Shivaha Shakti Yuktaha, meaning the unity that is there between Shakti and Shiva is very much needed. If Shiva is not united with Shakti, this entire universe only cannot be manifested at all. That is, in today's times when we look at, to beget progeny also, to ensure that a child is born, a man and woman should come together, right? Without a woman also, a man cannot do anything, and vice versa, right? So this, when we talk about in social life, you just think about the universe, the people who have created this universe, for them this unity is so very important. That's why shloka number 1 only starts with Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum. So without Shakti, without Parashakti, Shiva cannot do anything. That is the gist of this shloka. Now Shiva and Shakti, apart from this, we also regard something, a concept called Prakriti and Purushaha. Purushaha is nothing but Shiva, Prakriti is nothing but Parashakti, goddess. Okay. Now, that is basically man and woman, you can consider. We just, in the text, the examples are used as Shiva and Shakti. Now, what is this Purushaha? Purushaha does not refer to a man here, it refers to an object, that is it. Say, for example, you take the example of our own body. Our own body is like Purushaha. The various body parts that are there, hand, leg, head, stomach, everything, right? But I have hand that is there, very nicely, a very big hand, big long fingers, everything, a good gym body built hand. But I am not having the strength to move my hand. What is the use of that hand? Useless, right? Similarly, I have big legs, long legs that are there, everything, this, that, everything is there. But I am not able to move my legs. Useless. So, Purushaha is nothing but the presence of these body parts, hand, leg, stomach, whatever it is. But the power to move them, that is nothing but Shakti. And it may not always be due to a health issue also. Say, for example, I am not feeling well, or there is some health problem, so I am not able to move my body parts properly. Many times it so happens that we feel dull, right? Like, I am not feeling like doing anything today. Everything is fine. Physically I am okay, but that mental strength is something which is very much needed, right? In our own lives also, some days we make such statements. I am feeling very dull today. I am not feeling like doing anything. I don't feel like getting up. Someone comes and asks, what happened? Are you not feeling well? So you say, no, everything is fine, but I don't know. Nothing is happening. You yourself don't have an answer. This is nothing but Prakriti. That's when Shakti comes into place. So I just gave you a very simple example. Purushaha is nothing but things are there. All the aspects are there. You have a house, you have a body, everything is there. But resources are there. But we need something to run that. The strength that is there, that is provided by Prakriti. So in short, if strength is not there, then those objects also become useless. Similarly, without Shakti, Paramashiva also cannot do anything. This is the gist itself of Soundaryalahari. Yeah, now further, this text that is there, like I told you, it has been composed originally. The first 41 shlokas are by Paramashiva, and then we have the remaining shlokas that are there, which have been composed by Adi Shankaracharya, right? Now, on this text, there have been different, you can say, let us not call it as a controversy, but different aspects also have been written. Like, some people say that this text was before Shankaracharya. It was also written by a person, a great Sanskrit scholar called Pushpadanta. And some people also believe that Anandalahari, that is the first part which was told by Paramashiva, those shlokas, they have actually been etched in a sense, they have been written, it seems, by Bhagavan Ganesha himself on Mount Meru. Or some also say that Pushpadanta also has written those shlokas. So these are all just different, you can say, statements that are being told just to show the importance of this text, and from how from ancient times only this text was very much present. And in fact, it is said that Gaudapada, now who is Gaudapada? Gaudapada is the Guru of Shankaracharya's Guru, that is Govinda Bhagavatpada is the Guru of Shankaracharya, and his Guru was Gaudapada. So how the tradition goes, Gaudapada, Govinda Bhagavatpada, and then Shankaracharya, right? So it seems that Gaudapada had memorized these writings of Pushpadanta, and that's how it has been passed down to Adi Shankaracharya also. That's how it has got about 103 shlokas, it is said, but now in most of the references it is only 100 shlokas. And there have been different aspects, like few commentators also, like a person called Raghunathacharya, it is said that he believes that Adi Shankaracharya had composed this Soundaryalahari in Kashmir, today's Kashmir that we have, where we also have the Sharada Pita, which was recently, all the puja, the karmas, the inauguration, everything was done by the current Sringeri Acharya also. So the Sarvagnya Pita that they call. So there we know how Adi Shankaracharya had visited many times to worship goddess Sharada there. So Kashmir has always been a place where lot of visits have been made by Shankaracharya, and it is also believed that he has composed Soundaryalahari in Kashmir only. Then These, now if you divide these shlokas, the first 41 shlokas that are there, they actually describe a lot about tantram, yantram and various powerful mantras that have been told. And the next, that is from 42 to 100, the shlokas which have been composed by Adi Shankaracharya, they in general talk about the appearance of the goddess, or you can say like the presence of the goddess, beauty of the goddess, and so on. Now we will look after some time what exactly is mantra, tantra and yantra, right? Another legend that we say around the Shankaracharya, around the Soundaryalahari is, once when Adi Shankaracharya was visiting Kailasam, it seems that Shiva was writing about the beauty of goddess Parvati on the walls of Kailasam, it seems. That's when, as soon as Shiva sees Adi Shankaracharya coming in, he rubs, because he did not want Shankaracharya to see all that, because he did not want an outsider to read the beauty about his wife. But Adi Shankaracharya, we know, is actually an amsham of Paramashiva himself, and he had seen some part of it and he could recollect that easily, and thus he composed Soundaryalahari. So the text that we are all going to learn and chant today is none but a text which has been graced by Paramashiva himself, and it has been passed on from generations together, and finally Adi Shankaracharya has given this to the world. So Soundaryalahari, like I told you, is not just a mere collection of shlokas. It is actually a book based on Shaktism, Tantras and so on. It gives instructions on doing puja, Shri Yantram, worshipping methods. So in fact, 100 different shlokas, 100 different yantras, almost one yantram. Yantram is nothing but a geometrical figure that is used. I will describe about it later. And how every shloka should be chanted properly, what all ways in which it should be chanted, how devotion should be done, that is all also described for this shloka. Now, it is said that, like any other text, for Soundaryalahari also, for every shloka there is a phalashruti. Okay. Now, it is not that we learn anything for the sake of phalashruti, that to get back in return. But yes, all of us, we have our own desires, own wishes also, and it is nothing wrong in that. Okay. Now, some people will say, no, I go to the temple, I ask this, I went to God, I asked this. So there will be, usually what is said this, you don't have to always go and beg for something, right? Only when something is needed, I go to the temple. That is something which is wrong. But in general, if you see, human tendency is something wherein only when troubles or dukkhas come in, at that time we go and take the shelter of Bhagavan, right? It's not always in all our cases, but usually, if you think very, very deeply, in fact, the Bhakta had asked this question to Bhagavan only. I think from the Krishna Leela stories, this comes in, wherein he says that we are all your great Bhaktas. Why did you have to introduce the concept of dukkha only? If everything was happy around, there will be no need, right, for all these negativity to come in, wars to come in, this, that and so on. That's when Bhagavan gives an answer, it seems, saying that you human beings have got such a tendency that if I don't put in dukkhas in your life, if everything is just going about smoothly, you'll all start jumping, right? You'll all start dancing over my head. So because you human beings do not know how to control, that is the reason why a bit of dukkhas are also very much needed, so that at least during that time when dukkhas come in, you turn towards me, you try to show bhakti towards me. Now that doesn't mean that we don't show bhakti in other times, but generally, if you think, if everything is going about happy also, we'll not put efforts on it all, right? I have everything, why should I think about other things? This is what happens. But when little ups and downs comes in, that's when we start valuing, right? And Bhagavan, he adds one more thing. He says not only bhakti, not only that you will turn towards me, but you will also start valuing things. If everything I'm blessing you with, if everything is given to you, you will not value things at all, right? Like say for example, today we have a roof over our head, we have food on our plates to eat, but there are a set of people who don't have that, right? For them, they're praying for these things to happen, and for them, if they get, say, a roof over their head, food on their plates, that is a blessing for them, right? But maybe if we are on that stage, you look at someone else who has, say, he's got, I have one house today, he has got 4 houses there. We strive to look at that, right? And we keep complaining, right? So the point is, whenever there are certain ups and downs that come in, doesn't mean that we just have to keep comparing each other's lives. The point is, only when little ups and downs come in, that's when we turn our minds towards Bhagavan more. So here also, the point that comes is, life will always throw its ups and downs. We all need to pray. We all have our own ways of worship and so on. So faith, that is there. Shraddha is something which is very much needed, and it is a very personal thing, right? Each one of we have our own experiences. Like say for example, there will be someone who will be visiting a Shiva temple, say every Monday also. He will have something in his mind, and he visits there, and then his wish gets fulfilled. Obviously for that person he will say, no, you definitely go and worship the Shiva temple, all your wishes will be fulfilled. There will be someone else, they might have been doing something, then their wish got fulfilled, they make such statements, right? So this is nothing but, these are all just personal experiences which each one of us we come across, right? So it is nothing but Shraddha that is there. So with regards to Soundaryalahari also, later while we discuss the meanings also, I will tell you, for every shloka there is a certain purpose that has been told. So here we must not feel again that oh, should I keep chanting just for getting some purpose out of it, or just for getting my wishes fulfilled and so on. It's not that way. But sometimes Shraddha is something which matters, and if you have faith, you do it wholeheartedly, those things come in. Like for example, shloka number 2, Taniyam sampamsum tava charana pankeruha bhavam. The Phalashruti of the shloka, it is said that you attract the world towards you. That is, you develop such qualities that the world gets attracted towards you, and they will come seeking guidance from you and so on. So you become a very charming personality, like this. Or for example, shloka number 4 that is there, it talks about Tadanyaf Panibhyam Abhayavarado Daivata Ganaha. The shloka that is there is said to remove all kinds of diseases that are there, all kinds of bhayam goes away. So like this Abhayavarado, the shloka itself says that the goddess keeps her hand Abhayam, and that Abhaya Mudra, that is the blessing hand which most of the pictures we see, right? So when she keeps that mudra there, when she keeps the hand there, that's when it is said that, like an assurance that all your diseases will go away, all your fears will go away. So like this, for each shloka there have been Phalashrutis that have been told. So this is all wherein just Shraddha or Bhakti that comes into place. Yeah. Now, there have been lot of commentaries also on Soundaryalahari. It is said that there are more than 30 or to 36 commentaries on the Soundaryalahari in Sanskrit itself. Mostly few commentators like Lakshmi Dhara, Kaivalya Shrama, Dindima and so on. These are all few popular versions. You also have lot of translations that are made in Tamil also by a person called Kaviraja, wherein Abhirami Pardon, I think few of you might be familiar with it also. So that is actually a translation of Soundaryalahari only. A lot of English translations and commentaries are also done by, you have a lot of Ramakrishna Math publications that are there, and you also have a popular scholarly person called Subramanya Shastri. He has also done an English translation and commentary of Soundaryalahari. Yeah. In fact, you also have a lot of foreign scholars also who have studied this text. Yeah. And I think, I'm not very sure on this, but it is said that few old, I think in the 1980s or so, few Tamil movies also have got inspiration from this text. So the point of sharing all this is, if the world around can get inspired from this text, we should definitely chant and learn this text. And moreover, Shakti is described to be the fundamental cause of this universe, the force that moves everything. And the gods also, they attain completeness only through Bhagavati's grace, and that's how the Shakti philosophy is formed in Soundaryalahari. Further, the composer, like we know, of Soundaryalahari is Adi Shankaracharya. Now, who exactly is Adi Shankaracharya? Just to give you a gist of that. Again, Shankaracharya was born roughly around the 8th century also. One who is an Amshavataram of Paramashiva himself, born in Kaladi, to Shivaguru and Aryamba. They had prayed for a child for many years, and that's when Bhagavan Shiva only comes and takes birth. And from his guru, Govinda Bhagavad Pada, he learnt a lot of Vedantic philosophy and so on, lot of commentaries on the Upanishads, Gita, Brahma Sutras. One who was known for reviving this Advaita Vedantam that is there. Now, Adi Shankaracharya, we know lived for a short span of 32 years only, right? But in that small lifespan of 32 years, he traveled across Bharatadesha, Digvijaya Yatram. Lot of debates were being done with scholars. We know the popular debate of Vandana Mishra and Adi Shankaracharya. And the yatras that he took started from Kerala to Badrinath in the Himalayas, covering all over Bharatadesha. Lot of traditions have been established by him. The four major mathas we know: the Sringeri Matha in Karnataka, Dwaraka Matham, Gujarat, Puri Matham, Jagannath Puri, Badrinath Matham in Uttarakhand. Apart from that, we also have the Kanchi Matham, which is also attributed to Shankaracharya only. So, until today, we know how the acharyas, they are living there and they are contributing a lot. The same ways, in fact, the traditions also that are being followed in these mathas, that also have been till date, those things are being followed. Now, Shankaracharya, we know that he is the one who has composed right from small shlokas till great commentaries, right? Now, the famous shloka also that is told in praise of Adi Shankaracharya: Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi Dwadashe Khilash Ashtavrita Sarva Lokaishtai. Yeah, sorry, just had some water. Yeah, so the famous shloka that comes in praise of Adi Shankaracharya, that is Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi Dwadashe Sarva Shastravita. You can also change it down, Sarva Shastravita Dwadashe, that is also okay. Shodashe Kritavan Bhashyam Dvatrimshe Munirasyavat. So what this shloka actually tells is, Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi, at the age of 8, Shankaracharya had mastered all the 4 Vedas. Dwadashe Sarva Shastravita, at the age of 12, he became an expert in all the Shastras, all the scriptures. Shodashe Kritavan Bhashyam. At the age of 16, he started writing commentaries on the Gita, Brahma Sutras, Upanishads and so, the Prasthanatrayi. And Dvatrimshe Munirashyavat, meaning at the age of 32, he left his mortal body altogether after completing his divine mission. And within the span of 32 years, he has written commentaries on the Brahma Sutras, the 10 principal Upanishads that are there: Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, Mandukya, Taitiri, Aitareyam, Chandogyam, Brihadaranyakam. Moreover, the Gita Bhashyam has been written. Then lot of Prakarana Granthas. Prakarana Granthas are none but philosophical texts. Now, what are these philosophical texts? Like Viveka Chudamani, Upadesha Sahasram, Atma Bodham, Advaita Anubhuti, and so on. Apart from that, then Shankaracharya felt that for common people like us, you write some great philosophical text also, it will not be helpful. So let me start composing shlokas and stotras. Starting from Ganesha Pancharatnam onwards, he started writing shlokas. Modakara Tamodakam. Moving further to Ganesha Bhujangam, Bhaja Govindam, Kanakadara Stotram, Shiva Bhujangam, Vishnu Bhujangam, various Bhujanga Stotras, Dakshinamurti Stotram, Shiva Panchakshara Stotram, Shiva Anandalahari. Then lot of shlokas in praise of Vishnu, Lakshmi, Narasimha, Bhaja Govindam that is there, Soundaryalahari and so on. Apart from this, he has written commentaries on the Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Trishati, various Yoga Sutras that are there. So like even Totaka Ashtakam, which is written by one of the Totaka Ashtakam also after Totakacharya, one of the disciples of Adi Shankaracharya. So like this, if you see, these are the works of Adi Shankaracharya which talk about karma, bhakti, jnana. So right from simple shlokas and stotras till great philosophies, everything has been written and composed by Adi Shankaracharya. And also he is the one who has written the text which we are all going to learn, that is Soundaryalahari. So just while we are learning the text, we should also know about this author too. Yeah. Now, so we saw what exactly is Soundaryalahari, the story behind Soundaryalahari, who is the composer. Now next, I told you, we will look at the difference, or to know what is Tantra, Mantra and Yantra. Okay, now coming to this concept of Tantra, Mantra and Yantra. Okay, now Soundaryalahari has got a very, very important role to play here. Now these concepts of Tantra, Mantra and Yantra, they are actually concepts in Sanatana Dharma as well as Buddhism also. Yeah. Now what exactly is mantra? Mantra is nothing but sound, right? Now you would have heard, or we ourselves chant a lot of mantras that are there, or we would have heard people chanting a mantra. That is basically, it is a sacred sound that comes in. For example, we have the Gayatri mantra, right? Mantra actually comes from the word manas, that is mind, and tra is instrument. So that which is like an instrument also for the mind, that is actually a mantra. Yantram, what is exactly is a yantram, which is most popularly used in Soundaryalahari? Yantram is actually a geometrical figure also, and it is specifically used in meditation, worship also. Now again, yantram in Sanskrit, it means like a machine also, machine, or you can say a figure that is there. So that actually is the meaning of yantram. In most of our houses also, we might have few like in the maybe the puja area also you might have these yantras that are kept, right? Especially the Shri Yantram and so on. So they usually, you have yantras that are associated with various deities, like the Lakshmi Yantram, Kubera Yantram, and so on. So basically they are used to just enhance meditation, it seems, wherein like what people used to do is they used to draw these yantras, and then while they are chanting mantras also, for developing focus. Now a simple thing, we all do meditation. Someone tells you close your eyes. Even for 5 minutes you close, you see that is the time wherein most of the thoughts start running in our mind, right? Maybe not even in other times when we are doing other activities, thoughts keep running in our mind. But while we are actually sitting for meditation, you actually close your eyes for 5 minutes. That is the thing when even a thought which you would have never imagined, that also comes in our mind. That's because our minds are always running here and there, right? It's human nature. So that is why people used to draw such yantras, so that their meditation can be focused. So that was the purpose of these yantras. Next, and these yantras are actually, they're designed in such a way that they invoke lot of spiritual energies also, right? Next is nothing but tantram. Now what exactly is tantram? Tantram has got lot of you can say rituals that are being performed, mainly for bringing together our physical and emotional aspect that is there. Now many people feel that tantram is something which is only associated with, say, a man and woman also. It is not at all that way. It is basically to bring about spiritual practices that are being done. So that's why the various hand mudras also, you would have seen people who are doing such mudras, especially to invoke the goddess. That is nothing but it has got certain purpose also. That is nothing but tantrism. Especially tantrism, now again, many people or many of us, including myself, we feel that it is something to do with black magic also. It is not at all black magic. Okay, tantrism is a way to invoke the goddess. Yeah, so these are all practices which are done in Shaktism. Especially people like you and me, we might not be very much familiar to it, so that's why we'll feel that okay, this is something just black magic also, you would have seen in movies, TVs and so on. It is not at all that way. Just because we are not familiar with it much, or we don't see that commonly, does not mean that such a concept is not existing. So Soundaryalahari is like a gist of both mantras, tantras and yantras. Okay, so these three are three different concepts. Mantram is a sound, a mantra that we chant like the Gayatri mantra. Yantram is like a geometrical figure which we have like the Shri Yantram, Kubera Yantram, Lakshmi Yantram and so on, which usually people keep in their houses also for good fortune, or people while they were doing meditation also, to maintain their focus, they used to use and keep these yantras. And tantrams are various rituals that are performed to bring about spiritual progress, right, or to invoke the goddess. Okay, so this is the difference between tantram, yantram and mantram. Now the last aspect with regards to Soundaryalahari is, we have something called Shri Chakram or the Shri Yantram. We just saw what are yantras, especially for people who are practitioners of Shri Vidya or Devi worshippers. They will worship this Shri Yantram. Okay, now what exactly is this Shri Yantram? I'm not going very much deep into it, but just to give you an introduction of this, we will see Shri Yantram that is there. It will be in a geometrical aspect also. lot of bija mantras of the goddess are written. You have Rajarajeshwari who is worshipped, who is Lalita Tripura Sundari who is worshipped, Anima Siddhi, Lagima Siddhi, all these siddhis. Now what are these siddhis? Hanuman is said to be has said to have established mastery over these siddhis. That's the reason he could increase his size whenever he wants, reduce his size. He could attain victory over everything. So these are, when we say siddhis, Ashta Siddhi Navanidike Data, Asaparadina Janaki Mata. Hanuman Chalisa describes it. Ashta Siddhi Navanidike Data. Ashta Siddhi. Now these are all various siddhis, like I told you, Laghima, Anima, Garima and so on. That is also included in this Shri Yantram. So these are not like to increase one size, to reduce one size, to attain victory or so over things. These are not magic. Hanuman has actually practiced all these siddhis that are there. There are ways to attain these siddhis, and that's how he could establish, or he could win over those siddhis, right? So again, how can he just fly over the ocean? How can he just increase his size or so? We should not consider all this as, these are not fairy tales, right? So, or myths that are there. These are all things which have actually happened because these are siddhis that are described. In fact, Srimad Bhagavatam also, in few commentaries, you will have the description of these siddhis. So you can also learn about this more. Like I told you, in today's times, we don't come across these things very often, very commonly. So that's why we might feel that such a thing does not exist. But it is not so. There are many, many concepts that are there. Just because we don't see or come across these things commonly today does not mean such a thing is not existing. So coming back to Shri Yantram, it is basically, it seems that it was a yantram that was drawn. A lot of examples of yantras were used, like Adi Shankaracharya is only known for this yantram especially. It has about 9 you can say like various triangles that are there. So when you just look at it also, it looks quite complex. In fact, the 4 triangles that are there in an upward direction, they actually describe Paramashiva himself, and the 4 downward triangles that are there, they describe Parashakti. Okay, so in the picture also, if you see of any Shri Yantram, you can actually see those various triangles that are there. So this is basically this representation, and then there is a central point. A central point is nothing but a bindu that is there, which connects both Shiva and Shakti together. So especially, and this is how we have this entire configuration that is done of various triangles, that is called the Navayoni Chakra, the 9 ways in which you have all the concepts of these triangles which are coming together, bringing together the powers of Shiva and Shakti. Moreover, this Shri Yantram, like I told you, in the Sri Vidya school, Sri Vidya is nothing but practice that is done. It is a traditional, a tantric system also, which is devoted to the goddess. So especially like how people do this Shiva Puja also, many people have in their homes traditions, right? Similarly, many people have a tradition of worshipping the goddess, that is called the Sri Vidya practice of, or the Sri Vidya tradition of worship. So basically this Sri Vidya Yantram that is there, Sri Chakram, it actually is the union of energies, feminine and male energies that are there. In fact, the triangles that form, they vary in size. In all, there are about 43 smaller triangles also. The bindu is in the center. You have a lot of lotus patterns also that are formed, which actually denote creation. Then they are actually like, they in between, if you see, there are little squares also that are kept in between the triangles. Those squares that are there, they depict a temple, and that the doors, that squares in between actually depict a temple which will lead us to different regions of the universe. Okay, now I know these things are quite complex, but for our knowledge we should know, because Soundaryalahari is based on this Sri Yantram only. Now in the Sri Vidya tradition that is there, the Sri Yantram is the core of worship. Every triangle, every level is associated with various aspects of divinity. In all, it is called the Navachakra, and it symbolizes the philosophy of Shaivism, which is specially practiced in Kashmir. And you have the Mount Meru also that is there. Yeah. Now in this, in fact, the Lalita Sahasranama also describes about this Sri Yantram. You have the Sri Yantram that is engraved in metal and so on too. Now further, if you see, apart from this Sri Yantram, as it is called as a Navachakra also, this 9, Nava is nothing but 9. Now this each level, it worships a particular form of Tripura Sundari. So right from the bottom layer, outside layer also, you have various layers that are worshipped, wherein each form of the goddess is worshipped. Like for example, you have Sarva Sankshopana, Sarva Artha Sadhaka, Sarva Rakshakara, Sarva Rogahara. So Sarva Rogahara is like the seventh triangle, seventh set of triangles, which has got about 8 small triangles. It basically represents healing or protection from various ailments, both physical and spiritual, mental, and so on. So that is how you see the seventh. Later, when we in some other specific session also, we will study about this Shri Chakram, Shri Yantram a bit. So like this, each of these triangles, these rows of triangles, each of them, they have got a certain aspect. Like one example I gave you of this Sarva Rogahara, right? So like this is the Shri Yantram, which is you can say a base of Soundaryalahari, and you have Lalita Sahasranama, you have a lot of Tripura Rahasyam and so on, which talk about Tripura Sundari. If you have to meditate upon the goddess also in her divine form, she is worshipped through this Shri Yantram. Also the Panchadashakshari mantra, the 15th syllable mantra is chanted for the goddess to invoke the presence of the goddess. Thus we have the Yantram and the Mantram, both are used together for connecting with the supreme goddess in this Shri Vidya tradition. So Soundaryalahari also, every shloka has got a particular yantra, has got a particular mantra, and certain rituals also that are to be followed. Yeah. So while we start learning about these shlokas also, we will see in detail. So in this introduction, we just saw about Soundaryalahari, who has composed it, what is the subject matter, what was the legend behind the story, the difference between yantra, mantra and tantra, and a little bit, a very, you can say, a brief introduction of Shri Vidya or Shri Yantra that is there, which is actually the base of any Devi text that is there. Let it be Lalita Sahasranama or especially Soundaryalahari.